Journalists cannot easily travel to Sudan, hardly. It's torn by continuing ethnic violence, but don't tell that to our own intrepid Ann Curry. Ann smuggled herself across the border on her 6th trip to Sudan to gather first-hand evidence of what she feared, renewed ethnic cleansing. On this latest trip, Ann traveled to the Nuba Mountains, a region targeted in a bombing campaign by Sudanese President Omar Al-Bashir. In her debut on Rock Center tomorrow night, Ann Curry brings us the rarely heard stories of the survivors of these renewed government attacks, where rape and the killings of civilians have all become so commonplace.
As we speak with Hannah, warplanes fly overhead, sending everyone scrambling into the cave to huddle for safety. Hannah is overcome with emotion. Her 89-year-old father, who is blind, prays to God for protection. Nobody here was hit when the bomb fell.
One more in the cab.
But a few hours later in the darkness, we find the victims.
There was an Antonov earlier today, and it's hit this woman in the chest. It has cut her breast, and now her lung is actually exposed.
She's in so much pain.
4 Nuba women hit by the shrapnel. At least one is not expected to survive the 6-hour drive to the hospital.
Co-host of the Today Show, Ann Curry. And tell us, what can the rest of the world do? You are bearing witness for these people. What is going on inside Sudan?
What's happening is that some 585,000 people, according to the United Nations, have been displaced by this war. The war is coming from a battle between the government of Sudan on its own people, civilians of South Sudan and also North Sudan. The people you saw in the video clip just now have run to live in caves. There are thousands of them, possibly even tens of thousands of people, most of them children, living in caves because daily they're attacked by these Antonov government warplanes. Why is this happening is a very good question. As you well know from your understanding of what's happening in the world, recently the South Sudan split from the north. There was a squabble between the South and the North over vast oil reserves, strategic oil reserves. But on top of that, the politics and the territorial dispute have unleashed a kind of what appears to be strong evidence we found of ethnic cleansing, where the Nubian people, which is a black African people, appear to be targeted, have been for months now, by the mostly Arab government of Sudan. And they are called charcoal when they're attacked. They're called black slaves when they're attacked. So what we have is what we've had before in other parts of the world. We've had in Darfur, actually, which is what we're seeing echoes now of this new violence, of people being targeted for a lot of different reasons, but it has unleashed a kind of ethnic cleansing and also systematic rape and kidnapping. And there also are experts who say they have images, and we'll show them tonight in our report, tomorrow night in our report, of what appear to be mass graves in this region. So this is an unknown war, and these people's greatest fear is that they will die in darkness, and we will not let that happen.
And we in the world, the United Nations thought that when the government split and the new government in the South was created, that there would actually be some sort of rational process here. But by going back, you've uncovered that there is really a silent war, a hidden war, because it's hidden from our eyes, except when gutsy people like you take cameras inside.
Well, you know, there is a really gutsy young man there named Ryan Boyette, who is a humanitarian who was ordered to leave by his aid organization because of this violence. And he stayed. He's a 30-year-old American boy from Florida who has stayed, and he's been creating a kind of citizens journalist group. They've been taking images, they've been posting images. He's even testified before a committee in Congress, and we'll be profiling his heroic effort. But there is this effort to try to get this information out. There is a lot of concern in the United States government and also in the United Nations that what we're seeing now in this report may spill over and become actually what is greatly feared, and that is a renewed war between the South and the North in Sudan. You know, if you're going to see this kind of suffering, as I said before, it should not be seen in silence. There should be at least an awareness of what is happening. I think we all agree that people should not suffer in this way without at least being known for what they're enduring. And many people there thanked us for being there. And we thank you for letting us talk about it.
We thank you. And tomorrow night, Rock Center, Anne's full report on Sudan. And I know you're going to stay on the story because you do, because you're Ann Curry.
Thank you,
my friend.